Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. So today I'm in the kitchen making one of my faves, roasted tilapia with fried yam and plantains. And I'm also making a really nice sauce to go with it on the side. And as always, this recipe is written up on my website, yvonneajayi.com. So you will need a whole fish, and I've gone with tilapia today, but you can use any type of fish you prefer. So these are the ingredients I used to marinate the fish. So I used 1 onion, 2 garlic cloves, a thumb-sized piece of ginger, 1 green chilli, half a teaspoon of salt, black pepper and cayenne pepper, and 1 teaspoon of all-purpose seasoning. And I also used about 1/4 cup of olive oil. So for the sauce which will go with the meal, I used 2 red bell peppers and a green and yellow bell pepper. I used 2 Scotch bonnet peppers, and I like a bit of heat, so if you can't tolerate much heat, just add 1 Scotch bonnet pepper. And I used 1 onion, 3 garlic cloves and a thumb-sized piece of ginger. And as sides, we're going to be having yam fries and ripe plantains. So I've got a yam tuber here and some plantains. So I started by cleaning, gutting and scaling the fish. So I removed the gills in the head and removed the guts, which I did off camera. I removed the scales, then I just trimmed the fins, but I left the tail fin on for presentation. Next, I moved on to making the marinade for the fish. Now this marinade is very easy to make and it's so flavorful. So I just blended 1 onion, 1 green chilli, fresh ginger and 2 garlic cloves. And I also added half a teaspoon of salt, 1 teaspoon of all-purpose seasoning, half a teaspoon of cayenne pepper and half a teaspoon of ground black pepper. And I also added 1/4 cup of olive oil. And then I also added a few tablespoons of water just to loosen it up a bit. Then I poured this marinade all over the fish, so inside the fish, inside the head. You just want to get it in everywhere. So I scored both sides of the fish by making incisions through the skin and the flesh with a knife, and this will help fill the flesh with even more flavour. Yeah, so just rub the marinade all over and into the incisions. Then I left to marinate for about an hour or so that all the flavours can penetrate deeply into the fish. Okay, so while the fish was marinating, I moved on to prepping the rest of the meal. So I started on the pepper sauce. And to make this, I added the mixed coloured bell peppers, 1 onion and 2 Scotch bonnet peppers into the food processor. So make sure not to blend until smooth, so you just want to use the pulse function so the mixture can be coarse. So that's the prep for that done, and I just set it aside for later. Now onto the fried yam. So I just cut the yam into slices, peeled the skin and sliced into fries. Then I moved over to the sink to wash the yam, and I added them into a pot and covered with cold water for cooking later on. So when I make fried yams, I like to parboil the yams as it just makes it, nice and fluffy on the inside and perfectly crispy on the outside when fried. So back to the fish. So I covered my baking tray with foil and added some olive oil onto the foil tray. Then I placed the fish on a baking tray and placed it onto the middle shelf of a preheated oven at 200 degrees Celsius. So to make all parts of this meal ready at the same time, this is when I finished off the sauce, the fried yams and the fried plantains. So I placed the pot of yam on the hob and added salt to taste, then covered and brought to a boil over medium heat to parboil for 15 minutes. Now onto the pepper sauce, so I poured some olive oil into a pan, and once hot I added in the grated ginger and garlic and gently sauteed for a short time until fragrant. Then I added the blended pepper mixture and seasoned to taste with half a teaspoon of salt, a teaspoon of all-purpose seasoning, a little bit of thyme, half a teaspoon of black pepper, and I also used half of a fish stock cube. Then I just stirred all of this in well and let the sauce fry over medium heat, stirring occasionally. After 20 minutes, the sauce is ready and it's time for it to go onto the fish, which is halfway cooked in the oven. So I just spooned the pepper sauce all over the fish, but remember to reserve some of the sauce as dipping sauce for the yams and plantains. So I just ensured that I got all the lovely sauce into the incisions, then placed the fish back into the oven to cook for a further 20 minutes. So during these final 20 minutes, I removed the parboiled yam from the heat and drained them. Then I deep fried them. This took about 10 minutes. And when it's done, the yam fries should be crispy on the outside and fluffy and lovely on the inside. Now moving on to the plantains. So I peeled and sliced ripe plantains and fried them on medium heat in the same oil as the yams until cooked and golden brown. This also took about 10 minutes. And now finally the tilapia in the oven is ready and the delicious pepper sauce has infused into the fish, and it's also caused some caramelization to happen, and this just adds to the flavor of the fish. And then I went ahead and served this on a plate with the fried yams and the plantain sides, and I also added some more of that delicious pepper sauce into a dipping dish to enjoy with the meal. If you're hosting family or friends after this pandemic is over, this will be a great meal to make. And I just had to have my Nigerian Fanta, which completed this meal for me. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. Remember to visit my website yvonneajayi.com for the written recipe and lots more. Stay safe and God bless.